Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So now, as per our last class discussion, in the features, I have mentioned that 8086 architecture is being divided into two units. So here is the internal architecture or the block diagram of 8086 microprocessor. Here you can clearly see that there are two parts in its architecture. The upper part is written as bus interface unit BIU, and the lower part it was written as execution unit EU. Upper part we call it as bus interface unit, and the lower part we call it as execution unit. So now there can be a question that why the architecture of 8086 has been divided into two units. The reason for that is, and the most beautiful feature that 8086 has with the division of architecture is that 8086 supports pipelining process. In order to support pipelining process, 8086 architecture is being divided into two parts called as bus interface unit and execution unit. So now, what is this pipelining? Seema, pipelining is nothing but when one instruction is in execution, when processor is executing one instruction at the same time, if processor can get the next instruction which is to be executed, then that process is called as pipelining. In a simple way, we can define pipelining as the process in which execution unit is executing an instruction at a time. Bus interface unit is fetching the next instruction, execution of current instruction and fetching of next instruction. If these two are happening at a time, or if these two are happening parallelly, then that particular process we call it as pipelining. So in order to support the pipelining process, 8086 architecture has been divided into two units. Guys, are you clear with the pipelining?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand what exactly the pipelining is?
Yes, ma'am.
In shorten, I'll repeat once again, pipelining is nothing but when one instruction is in execution, parallelly, if the next instruction is being fetched, which is to be executed next to the current instruction, that we call it as a pipelining. And now we will see in detail about the bus interface unit and the execution unit. So before we move on to the execution unit, we need to discuss much more about the bus interface unit. Seema, bus interface unit is first thing. Bus interface unit, it is responsible. Main response of this bus interface unit is that it is responsible for establishing the communication with outside world. BIU is responsible for it is responsible for communicating with outside world. It is responsible for communicating with outside a world. What did you understand from this, Ma? Bus interface unit is responsible for communicating with outside unit. That means, see, you can see the dotted lines, right? Just look at only the BIU. BIU is set inside a dotted line, and above to this dotted line, here you can see one particular block. What is it named as, Ma? What is this block is named as?
Memory interface.
Memory interface.
Memory interface. That means in order to communicate with outside world means, as you all know, that microprocessor, it does not have its internal memory. 8086, not only 8086, microprocessors will not have their internal memory. The memory has to be connected externally to the microprocessor. So the first important thing that you should keep in your mind when you are talking about microprocessor is that microprocessor does not come with inbuilt memory. Memory has to be connected externally for any kind of microprocessor. So here, in order to communicate with the external memory, or in order to share anything to the external memory, that particular communication is being established by the bus interface unit. In short, we can say that bus interface unit will establish the communication between the processor and the outside world. The outside world can be anything. It can be memory, or it can be an input device, or it can be an output device. As we have seen in features, 8086, it is having 64 IO ports. That means 8086 can communicate with 64 number of external devices, and those external devices can be input devices or output devices, or it can also be a memory. Guys, are you clear with this point?
Yes, ma'am.
And now, see here. So now the first thing that I have explained you is BIU is responsible for communicating with outside world. And now I told you that execution unit will execute the instruction and bus interface unit will fetch the instruction. So before I explain what exactly fetching, you just tell me, consider our college library as 1 MB size. It is of 1 MB size. 8086 can access a maximum memory of up to 1 MB, right? And now I have instructed you to go to the library and get MPMC textbook. My instruction to you, like my instruction to the students, is that go to library and get microprocessor and microcontroller textbook. This is the one instruction I have given to the one particular student, and the second instruction I am giving to another student is that go to library, go to the fourth row of the library and get 10th book of that fourth row which is present in library. Guys, are you clear with these two statements? To one student, I have instructed that go to library and get microprocessor and microcontroller textbook. This is the one instruction that I have given to one student. And I am giving my second instruction to the second student that go to fourth row of library and get 10th book of fourth row from the library. Are you clear with these two instructions, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am.
And now, tell me, student 1 will get the book faster or student 2 will get the book faster?
Student 2.
Why? Why student 2 will get, I mean, why his time is being saved? Why he is
As you
executing
have,
my instruction fastly?
as you have said that the book is in fourth row,
Yes,
you can
book
easily
is
get
in
that.
fourth row, and I have specified where exactly in fourth row also,
Yes,
isn't it?
ma'am.
So that means here you need to understand one thing is that I'll now come into 8086. 8086 1 MB, that means that entire library, it is being segmented into 4 segments. It is being divided into 4 segments. See, BIU, here you can see ES, CS, SS and DS. Can you see these 4 registers, ma'am? ES,
Yes.
CS, SS and DS. So just like the rows in a library, how the library is being segregated into different rows, in a same way 1 MB of 8086 memory is being divided into 4 segments. Why is it divided into 4 segments? What is the advantage of dividing the entire library into 4 rows? Because the student can get into the library, first he will go for his department and then he will go and search for the required book. So in a similar way, when segmentation is done, then the execution time of the instruction will be less. Execution time will be less means the processor is performing the operation in a faster mode. So in order to increase the performance time of the microprocessor, the memory of 8086, the 1 MB size memory of 8086 is being divided into 4 segments. And now, so in order to come to that particular example, which I have explained with 2 different instructions. So in order to get one particular textbook fastly, I need to specify the address of that particular textbook. To the first student, I just have told him to get the textbook of MPMC. That's it. I haven't mentioned any address, like where is it exactly, in which row it is and in which position it is, I didn't mention. So for the second student, as I mentioned in which row it is present and what is the book number in that particular row, as I have mentioned clearly the address of the book in that particular library, the second student is able to get that book faster than the first student. Guys, are you following?
Yes, ma'am.
So in a similar way, in order to fetch the instruction, when EU is executing one instruction, BIU has to get the next instruction. That means BIU should know where exactly that particular instruction is present in the entire memory. That means BIU should know the address. The memory here, it is a 1 MB memory. So within that 1 MB memory, where that instruction is being stored exactly, if the address of that particular instruction is known to BIU, then it can easily go to that particular location and it can get that instruction and it can give that instruction to the queue. So here the task of BIU first, the first operation that, or the first task that BIU should do is, the functions or the first task that BIU should do is it has to calculate physical address. It has to calculate physical address of the next instruction. It has to calculate the physical address of the next instruction. Why it should calculate the physical address? Because if it doesn't know where exactly the instruction is, then its searching time will become more. So the pipelining process may fail. If searching time is more, even after executing the current instruction, the execution unit will wait for the next instruction. If the next instruction is not ready, so if next instruction is to be ready, then BIU should know where exactly that instruction is present in this particular memory. So the address of the next instruction, that we call it as a physical address. So now this bus interface unit should calculate. The first thing that BIU has to do is it has to calculate the physical address. Once if it calculates the physical address, next it has to fetch the instruction from that particular calculated physical address. So now when students knows that it is a fourth row, here the fourth row, just consider the fourth row as a physical address. So if student knows the fourth row, first he will move on to fourth row and he will start searching in the fourth row itself. So he will find the book and he will fetch that book. So the second was executed. First is calculating the physical address, next is fetching the instruction. Once if the instruction is ready with BIU, then it will keep that instruction in the, queue. It will keep the instruction in queue. So these three are the major functions that are being executed by the bus interface unit. First thing is calculation of physical address. Next is it will move on to that particular physical address and it will get that, or it will fetch that particular instruction. Third is once the instruction is ready, then that instruction is being maintained in queue. So here, see here ma, this particular part, here you can see one symbol, right, with a summation symbol. This particular symbol is going to calculate the physical address. This symbol will calculate the physical address. Once if the physical address is ready, then from here BIU will move on to memory interface. With this physical address, it will go on to that particular location and it will get the instruction and it will keep that instruction in this particular bus. So through this bus, that instruction is going to be inserted into the queue. So it is the one, this particular arithmetic unit, we call this unit as arithmetic. This unit and this unit, we call them as arithmetic unit. Here, the arithmetic unit of BIU will calculate the physical address. Now, what is the formula to calculate physical address? See here, ma. The formula to calculate physical address is physical address is equals to address into segment address into 10 plus segment address into 10 plus offset address. Ma, can you see the formula for physical address calculation?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Physical address is equals to segment address into 10 plus offset address. So here, in order to calculate physical address, now you should know two different addresses. One is the segment address and next one is the offset address. What exactly the segment address? See here now. Consider the same example. Library has like our library is considered as 1 MB of memory of 8086. So now this 1 MB of memory, that means that library, it has been divided into 4 rows. It has been divided into 4 rows in library, 4 segments in 8086 microprocessor. So now you tell me, each row will be having some starting address and ending address, isn't it?
Yes,
Like
ma'am.
book
Yes,
number
ma'am.
1 to book number 100 or book number 199, book number 1 to book number 199, these will be in first row. In a similar way, 200 to 299 in second row, 300 to 399 in third row, 400 to 499. So like when there is a segmentation or when there is a row, there will be a starting address and the ending address of that particular segment. So here segment address is nothing but starting address. Starting address of segment. Starting address of segment is known as segment address. Starting address of the segment is nothing but segment address. Then what about the offset address? See here, go back to the example. Fourth row, 10th book. So now here I am mentioning my segment address, that is nothing but the starting address as 4, number 4, and within the fourth row I am asking the student to get 10th book. So I am specifying the address within the segment, specifying the book number within the row. That particular number we call it as a offset address. Consider the same example, going to the fourth row and getting the 10th book from the fourth row. So here 4 will be the starting address of that particular row, and 10, book number 10 is going to be the offset address of that particular row. Guys, are you following?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, yes, ma'am.
Address within the segment. Specific address within the segment, we call it as offset address. So guys, are you clear with what is segment address and offset address?
Yes, ma'am.
Segment address is nothing but starting address of the segment. Offset address is nothing but a specific address within that particular segment. So once if you know segment address and once if you know offset address, then you can easily calculate the physical address, where physical address is equals to segment address into 10 plus offset address. So in this way you need to, VIU will calculate the physical address, like this summer will calculate the physical address. And the next question, who will provide the segment address and who will provide the offset address? See here now. Here it has 4 segments. 8086 has 4 segments: ES, CS, SS, DS. ES stands for extra segment, CS extra segment register, CS stands for code segment register, stack segment register, data segment register, whereas IP stands for instruction pointer. IP stands for instruction pointer. So if you keenly observe, to this summation there are 2 inputs. One is in this way and another is in this way. So this row, this particular arrow will carry the segment address, and this arrow will carry this particular line. It will carry the offset address. This particular arrow will carry the segment address, and this one will carry the offset address. So once if the segment address and if the offset address are ready, then this summer is going to calculate the physical address. So out of these 4 segment registers, extra segment register, code segment register, stack segment register, data segment register, out of these 4, the segment, the address of the instruction, segment address of the instruction, it is being given by the code segment register. This code segment register will give you, see here ma, code segment address will give you the segment address. CS, code segment register, will give you the segment address, and in a similar way IP is nothing but instruction pointer. Instruction pointer will give you the offset address. Instruction pointer will give you the offset address. It will give you the offset address. Guys, did you understand who is going to provide segment address and offset address for this summer?
Yes, ma'am.
Code segment register will give the segment address through this particular line, and instruction pointer will give the offset address through this particular line. So here, as this is having two input lines from here, inputs are being received from these registers and the physical address is being calculated. So see here, the first operation, calculation of physical address of the next instruction. Where the instructions will be there, ma? All the instructions will be there in memory only. Instructions, group of instructions is nothing but program. That means where the program is going to be stored. Program will be stored in memory only. So now BIU knows what is the physical address of the next instruction. So now from here it will get the physical address. So you can see this. This is the outside arrow from this particular summer. So from here, after calculating physical address, it is going into the memory. Why is it going into the memory? Because BIU now knows where to go. After entering into the library, where should it go? That address is being calculated. So now it will move on to interface. It will go to that physical address what it is calculated. From that particular address, whatever the instruction is there at that particular address, it will get that particular instruction. So the next thing, fetching the instruction is also done. Physical address is calculated and BIU will move on to that particular physical address. So whatever the instruction is present in that particular physical address, it will get that instruction, and here from here, see here, through this particular bus, that instruction is being filled into this particular queue. So this process will continue up to the queue is going to be filled up. See, as I told you in the features, 8086 queue is of 6 bytes size. It is of 6 byte size. That means at a time it can store 6 bytes of program. At a time it can store 6 bytes of program. So BIU will perform 3 major operations: calculating the physical address, second thing, moving on to that physical address and getting the instruction, and third thing, once if it is ready with the instruction, it will keep that instruction in the queue. So this is the operation that is being performed by the bus interface unit in 8086 microprocessor. Guys, are you clear with BIU, ma?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So as of now, we have discussed how the instruction is going to be fetched and how is it going to be stored in queue. Here, the one thing that you need to remember is that queue can store up to a maximum of 6 bytes of program. It can store up to a maximum of 6 bytes of program. So now BIU operation is done. So now coming to the down part. Down part is nothing but the execution unit. See here, ma'am. From Q, there is an arrow mark to the control system. At the same time, there is an arrow mark to this A bus, which is connecting the execution unit. See what exactly this control system will do. For that, I'll just take one simple example. See here now. See here I have written a move BL comma CL, and next I'm writing move BL comma 05H. In lab session, I have told you that processor will support only the hexadecimal number system. See here I have written two instructions. One instruction is move BL comma CL and the second instruction is move BL comma 05. So these two are the instructions which are in assembly language and which were written by the end user. And now when BIU is fetching this instruction and when it is keeping it in this queue, this is not going to be the assembly language instruction. This assembly language instruction is going to be converted into the opcode. It is being converted into the opcode. Opcode means machine language, that is nothing but binary language. So whatever the instruction that Q is having, all those are the binary forms of the program that we have written. So what this control system will do is, say for example, instruction 1 is now ready to move on to execution unit. Consider that this is the instruction number 1. Consider that this is the instruction number 1 and this is the instruction number 2. So here instruction number 1 is move BL comma CL. Here BL is a register and CL is also a register and move is the mnemonic. So now move BL CL, all these three things will be in the form of opcode. That means they will be in the form of binary. So what this control system will do, this control system will convert those opcodes, or the control system will decode those opcodes in a language which can be understood by the execution unit. I'm repeating once again, control system will decode the opcodes of the instructions. Control system will decode the opcodes of the instructions. Then you can ask a question, ma'am, when every instruction has to be decoded by the control system, then the arrow can be from Q to control system and from control system to the execution unit. But here there is another arrow from the Q itself. Guys, did you get my question?
Yes, ma'am.
So here, why the second arrow directly it is being connected to EU instead of connecting it to control system is that you just try to observe the second instruction. In the second instruction, move is a mnemonic, BL is a register, but 05 is a number, isn't it, ma? 05 is a
Yes,
number.
ma'am.
So here what this instruction Q will have, it will have this number as it is. It will have this number as it is. Opcode of this number is not going to be stored because we have infinite numbers. So in order to store infinite numbers, there should be infinite opcodes, which is impossible for any kind of processor. So here the thing that you need to remember is that opcodes will exist only for the assembly language. Opcodes will exist only for the assembly language. So if you consider this second instruction, move BL comma 05. So now it is in second place. So here move BL will have the opcode, 5 remains same. So the opcode of move BL will come to the control system in order to decode, and the 05 through this particular line directly comes to the execution unit. Guys, are you clear with the second instruction, ma? Second instruction, it is having opcode part and number part. Opcode part will move on to the decoding system, that is nothing but control system, and the number part will directly come to the execution unit. Did you get the difference between these two instructions, instruction 1 and instruction 2?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so that is the reason the numbers will directly come into the execution unit from the queue, whereas opcodes has to move on to control system and they need to be decoded, and after decoding they will come to the execution unit. Clear with this, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am.
So now after decoding, the control system will release the control signals. Control system will release the control signals. So control signals are nothing but, if you consider these two equations only, in these two, the controlling is nothing but, the operation is nothing but moving the content of CL into BL, or moving the number 5 into a register called BL. So that particular operation is being executed by this execution unit. Here I'll take another example for your better understanding. Add BL comma CL. So now you tell me, in this third instruction, does the opcode exist for entire instruction, or it exists only for add BL? Guys, answer to me.
The entire instruction, ma'am.
Very good, ma. Opcode will exist for entire instruction because instruction does not contain any number. When there is a number in instruction, that number will directly come to EU, and the remaining will have opcode, and that opcode needs to be decoded. So now I'm talking about third instruction, add BL comma CL. So this is being decoded by the control signal, and now control system, it is releasing a control signal to the arithmetic logic unit because it is an addition operation. So here, see, arithmetic logic unit, it has to perform add, but in order to perform addition operation, it should receive two things. One is BL and another is CL. If you see here, just like here also it is having two input arrows, one arrow and the second arrow. So these two arrows, it will fetch the instructions from the BL and CL. Here you can see the BL and here you can see the CL. So BL will come in one way and CL will come in another way. So in that way, ALU, the arithmetic logic unit, will receive the two inputs and here it will perform its operation. Once it performs its operation through this particular arrow line, it will produce its output. And this output is again given to this particular bus so that the output can be stored in any of these particular registers. See here, ma, if you consider this particular example, add BL comma CL, once if the operation is done, the addition is done, the sum is going to be by defaultly stored in BL. This we call it as a source and this is the destination. BL will be the source one and CL is going to be the destination. So here after the not only for addition, let you consider any kind of operation. Once if the operation is done, the output or the result of that particular operation will be stored in the source place. The first thing will be the source one. The first register represents the source register and second one will be the destination register. So in that way, execution unit will execute the instruction. Guys, are you clear with EU?
Yes, ma'am.
And here I have explained what are these. Segment register will store the segment address. Instruction pointer will store the offset address. In a similar way, here we have so many registers. SEMA, AHAL, BHBL, CHCL, DHDL. They are all nothing but just give me a second. AHAL can be combinedly called as a register AX. And in a similar way, BHBL can be combined and it can be called as BX. Similarly, CX and similarly DX. So AX, BX, CX, DX, these four registers are called as general purpose registers. AX, BX, CX and DX. These four registers are called as general purpose registers. That means these are the registers. See here you have 5 registers. Here along with these 4 you have 4 more here and here you have flag also. So out of all these registers, we can use only these 4 registers while we are writing the program. That is the reason why AX, BX, CX, DX, these 4 registers are called as general purpose registers as they are freely available for the end user in order to make use of them while we are writing the program. Guys, are you clear why they are called as general purpose registers?
Yes, ma'am.
So in your program, if you are writing a program for 16-bit, you need to mention AX, the name as AX. If you want to use 16-bit at a time, then you need to use the AX. In a similar way for BX, CX and DX, whenever you are mentioning X, that indicates that you are dealing with 16-bit. And in a similar way, all these registers have been subdivided with a suffix of H and with a suffix of L, where H indicates higher byte and L indicates lower bit. H indicates higher part and L indicates lower part. You can have clear clarity if I give an example. See here. 7, 8. So how many bits, or else just wait. How many bits this particular binary code is representing, ma'am?
8, ma'am.
It has 8. So the first 4 bytes are called as lower bytes. So among these 8 bytes, which 4 bits are called as lower part of that particular binary number? Lower part.
4 zeros, ma'am.
These 4 zeros will represent the 4 zeros will represent the lower part and the 4 ones will represent the higher part. So if you give their namings like it will be starting with B7, B6, B5, B4, B3, B2, B1, B0. In this way only you will be writing names for your binary bit, right? So B0, B1, B2, B3, these will be called as lower bytes of the number, and from B4 to B7 they are called as higher bytes. Guys, are you clear?
Yes, ma'am.
So whenever if you are dealing with 8 bits, see, general purpose registers, they can handle maximum of 16 bit. At a time, if you are dealing with 16 bits, you can directly use the register AX. I mean, you can use X. The suffix X you can indicate when you are directly using 16 bits. Or else, if you are making use of only the lower 8 bits, here I have considered lower 4 bits, as it can support up to 16 bit. If you want to access only the lower 8 bits, you need to add a suffix of L to any of these registers, and if you are accessing higher 8 bits, you need to add the suffix of H to these 4 registers. Are you clear with these, ma? AH, AL and AX,
Yes, ma'am.
suffix X, suffix L and suffix H. Are you clear with these 3 suffixes?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
X indicates accessing all the 16 bits at a time. L indicates accessing 8 lower bits. H indicates accessing 8 higher bits. Clear? Guys, are you clear?
Yes, ma'am.
And now, below to this, see here we have SP, BP, SI and DI. Here SP indicates stack pointer, BP indicates base pointer, SI indicates source index, where DI is destination index. I'm repeating: stack pointer, base pointer, source index and destination index. Here, what does the IP stores, ma? What IP stores? Guys, what IP stores?
Off address.
Not
Offset address.
offset address. So along with IP, these 4 registers will also hold the offset addresses corresponding to their segment addresses. Along with IP, these 4. So totally within 8086 microprocessor, there are 5 registers which will hold the offset address. Guys, are you clear? There are 5 registers which will hold the offset address. Those 5 are named as instruction pointer, stack pointer, base pointer, source index, destination index. In short, we can say that uh, indexed and pointer registers, indexed and pointer registers are used for holding the offset address. Indexed and pointer registers are used for holding the offset address. Guys, are you clear?
Yes, ma'am.
And segment registers, there will be 4 segment registers, and all those 4 segments will store the starting address corresponding to the segment. So now coming, I have explained that this ALU, and now coming to this operands and flags. In last class I have explained what are operands. Operands are nothing but the variables to which you are assigning your values. They are called as operands. And coming to the flag, see here, ma, here just now we have performed one addition operation, right? Add BL comma CL. So now whenever you perform an addition, see, whenever you are given 2 positive numbers, and when you add them, the output is going to be a positive number or negative number. When you perform addition to 2 positive, the output will have positive number or negative number.
Positive, ma'am.
Positive. Similarly, when you add 2 negative numbers, the output will be,
Negative.
and 1 positive number and 1 negative number,
Might be positive or negative.
based on the number that we are giving. Based on the number that we are giving. So here, flag register will give you the status of your result. Flag registers will give us the status of the result. Result is being generated by the ALU, and status of that result, as we are have taken the example of addition. Okay, addition has been done and its result is generated by the ALU. So whether that generated result, it is a positive number or a negative number, that status is being given by the flag register. Say if your result is containing 0, so flag register will tell you whether your result is a 0 result or a non-zero result. If your result is having a carry, whether the result is having carry or not, whether the result is positive or negative, whether the result is 0 or non-zero, that means status of the result is being indicated by the flag registers. Guys, am I clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Result and status of result. Result is being generated by ALU and status is being provided by the flag register. Clear with this?
Yes, ma'am.
And now listen to my question. Now I am asking you a question related to Q. So what is the size of Q?
6 bytes.
6 bytes.
I
And now, yes, now listen. This first instruction is being executed. First instruction is being executed by the EU. So now, does it contain an empty space or not? Does the queue contains empty space or not?
no, ma'am.
Why? First instruction is executed. Now second will come to
Next
1, third will come
instruction.
to 2, 4 will come to 3. Then this top place will be empty only, na?
It is filled with next instruction.
It is going to be filled up with. That means you are saying that
Next
when
instruction.
first instruction is being executed or when it is in the process of execution, the next instruction is going to be provided by the BIU. That is what you are saying, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And now listen. So my question is, the first instruction that EU is taking and the EU is executing is of 1 byte size. EU is executing 1 byte instruction. That means there will be a space for the 1 byte of next instruction, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am.
1 byte execute చేస్తుంది అంటే there is a space for 1 byte, right? So now my question is, does that 1 byte is going to be filled up by BIU or not?
Yes, ma'am.
But answer is no. Even though there is a space of 1 byte in order to store the next instruction, BIU will not fetch the instruction and it will not store the 1 byte instruction here. The reason is that what is the data bus size of the 8086 ma? Data bus size of 8086?
16 bits.
16 bit. But here Q is having 1 byte of space. That means it has a space for how many bits?
8 bits.
But 8086 data bus size is,
16 bits.
but the free size is of 8 bit only. That means, see here, if it go the BIU of 8086, it can carry 16 bits at a time per cycle. So if there is a space for 8 bits and if it is going and fetching the instruction for 8 bits, it has to go again to the memory to fetch the remaining instruction. That means to fill up this 1 byte of size, it has to move to the memory for 2 times because it can carry 16 bit at a time, but here there is a space for only 8 bits. So what 8086 BIU will do is that it will wait for the next byte of instruction to become free. So finally what I am trying to say is that whenever there is a minimum free space of 2 bytes, whenever there is a minimum free space of 2 bytes, then only BIU will fetch the next instruction. Guys, are you clear with this statement?
Yes, ma'am.
Because why
Yes.
it will wait for 2 bytes means at a time it can get 16. Then why should it go for 8 one time and 8 for another time? It has to rotate twice now. Instead of going there and coming back for 2 times, at a time it will go on, get the 16 bits at a time and it will fill the queue. Isn't it?
Yes, ma'am.
So are you all clear with the architecture?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, now I'm sharing the link and the link is going to be enabled up to 11:05. After that, it will close automatically. So fill the link. and submit the test, ma'am.
Okay,
I'm
ma'am.
sharing in Teams